So in this one, we're going to try to prove something that we've talked a lot about, which is BE bisects AC. You're given that ABCD is a kite, and that in the kite, you know that AB is congruent to BC. That's your given part. And then that means, by definition, AD must be congruent to CD, because the definition of a kite is you've got these two pairs of adjacent congruent sides. So AD is congruent to CD, and that is by definition of a kite. And then from there, we've got to decide what to do next. And the hard part about how this picture is drawing is the obvious thing to do isn't, or the thing that you need to do isn't particularly obvious. And that is actually to prove the big triangles congruent. And it's always important to remember in a kite that these two big triangles are going to be congruent to each other. It's really easy to do because we already have two of the sides, and we can find the third side because the third side is just that long diagonal. And so by the reflexive property of congruence, that is congruent to itself. And so now we can say that triangle BAD is congruent to triangle BCD. And that is by side, side, side. And that's useful because now we can find out some information about these two small triangles, ABE and CBE, because we can say that angle ABE is congruent to angle CBE by CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And then that shared with BE is congruent to BE, which we'll put up here in the statement about reflexive because it's the same idea. Now we know that we have triangle ABE is congruent to triangle CBE, which basically finishes the proof for us. We just got a few details to fill in. Because once you know those two triangles are congruent, then if you want to prove that one segment bisects another, you just need to prove two segments are congruent. And so we say AE is congruent to CE. And so this was by side angle side. And then this is going to be by CPCTC. And now that you've shown AE is congruent to CE, by definition, that means that BE bisects AC. So again, and so that means by definition of segment bisector, the key to this proof is to get a jump start on it by showing that the two big triangles, ABD or BAD, is congruent to BCD. And then that tells us a lot. It tells us then that BD bisects angle ABC and angle ADC. A lot of the stuff and properties from a kite come from that beginning of proving those two big triangles congruent.